You walk past the edges of your garden every day. But what if those quiet borders could come alive? Buzzing, fluttering, crawling, thriving? Welcome to Arkan Aesthetic Studio, where small spaces become living stories. In this video, we're turning recycled bottles into something far greater than trash. A backyard border that feeds life, shelters it, and celebrates it. There are timestamps below. Feel free to jump to what you need. And if something sparks your curiosity, leave a comment. I'll be there. If this resonates with you, take what you have and start. Don't wait. Beauty and biodiversity are closer than you think. And just before we begin, maybe to you, I'm just another face on a screen. But behind every frame is a story, and a small family. This isn't just a video, it's a piece of my heart. Every like, every comment, every subscribe, it keeps a real dream alive. Thank you for being here. Thank you for seeing me. One, DIY bottle bee hotels for tiny garden borders. In a quiet corner of the garden, where the fence meets the soil and herbs dance softly in the breeze, something unexpected begins to happen. It's not grand, it's not loud, but it is beautiful. Here, old bottles, once discarded, forgotten, have been given new life. Not as trash, but as vessels of sanctuary. Their shapes now line the edges of raised beds, forming an organic border that is both charming and deliberate. Each bottle stands as a quiet sentinel, filled with twigs, bamboo tubes, straw, and pine cones. These are not just decorations. They are homes. In the first image, a solitary bee finds refuge inside a green glass bottle tucked gently against a timber edge. Inside, paper rolls and hollow stems provide shelter for pollinators who work without applause. It is a hotel of silence and purpose. This is a reminder, not all beauty blooms with petals. Some hums quietly in chambers of wood and glass. Move along the path, and the view shifts. The second image reveals a garden boundary lined with inverted glass bottles, each one filled with layers of organic textures, pebbles, dried leaves, even sprigs of herbs. Some cradle sprouting greens, while others rest as sculptural forms, like a chorus of upturned vessels, whispering stories of upcycling and rebirth. This isn't just garden edging, it's habitat in disguise. Between each bottle, microclimates emerge. Insects wander. Moisture lingers. Life thrives, silently. And then, the third image opens like a secret. A row of PET plastic bottles has been transformed into modular insect houses, snugly pressed into lavender beds. From a distance, they blend in, almost invisible. But up close, their purpose becomes clear. Bundles of tiny tubes, pockets of straw, curated spaces for the overlooked allies of any thriving ecosystem. Ground beetles, solitary wasps, lacewings, all are welcome here. They do not ask for much, just space and a little intention. These bottles, once bound for landfills, are now woven into a story of restoration. This is how you begin. Don't wait for a big space. A fence corner, a garden path, even a patio edge will do. Collect your bottles. Clean them well. Fill them with textures of the forest floor, hollow stems, cardboard tubes, dried herbs, rolled bark. Turn them upside down or tuck them sideways into your borders. Observe. Listen. Over days, and then weeks, your garden will soften. Insects will return. Birds will hover. And one morning, you'll realize you've created a world within a bottle. This is not just DIY. This is design for the unseen. This is care made visible. This is backyard biodiversity. Two colorful butterfly watering spots using recycled bottles. Not every garden needs grandeur to feel alive. Sometimes, the magic begins with a splash of color, and a single butterfly landing softly, like a breath of wind. In these quiet spaces, where marigolds stretch their golden petals to the sun and daisies sway like dancers in a slow song, something extraordinary is happening, crafted not from luxury, but from care and from trash. A collection of humble plastic bottles, once forgotten, now reborn into soft pastel watering stations, painted by hand and placed lovingly along the border of a garden path. Inside each one, clear water, smooth stones, and a promise of life. The butterflies know. They come, monarchs, swallowtails, red admirals, each seeking moisture, a resting place, a moment. They find it here, on the rim of a blue glass bottle, nestled beside mint and blooming chamomile. On a sculpted border of upturned bottle halves, arranged like teacups for wild wings. Some bottles trickle into a handmade pond, surrounded by stones and zinnias, while others rest directly in the soil, like a dotted trail leading pollinators home. It's not just about beauty. It's about function, purpose, inclusion. Every rock you place in those waters gives a winged guest a place to land safely. Every bottle you save from landfill becomes a fountain of kindness. The garden becomes more than just a space. It becomes a gesture. You don't need a wide yard, just a little edge, a fence base, a small patch of grass. With a few used bottles, some paint, twine, and love, you create a sanctuary. Start by cleaning your bottles and cutting them down to shallow vessels. Paint them softly, or let them stay clear. Add river stones. Add water. Place them among flowers that butterflies love. Milkweed, lavender, echinacea, mint. Then wait. Watch. Soon, your backyard or balcony will be visited. Not by crowds, but by fluttering hearts with velvet wings. And you'll feel it. The quiet joy of giving something back. This is DIY that doesn't just decorate, it welcomes life. This is recycling made poetic. This is how we transform small corners into sanctuaries. Three mini bird feeders hung on backyard bottle fence. There's something deeply peaceful about the quiet flutter of wings, a sudden flicker of movement. A tiny life landing to trust your garden, even for just a moment. Here, amidst climbing ivy and pots of mint and marigold, A line of simple plastic bottles dangle gently from twine. Their forms are modest, their presence subtle. But to the birds, they are an invitation. An old milk bottle becomes a silo of seeds. A glass bottle transforms into a transparent perch. These are not just feeders. These are gestures of welcome. In the first image, a robin, its chest a blaze of warm orange, rests delicately on a hand-drilled perch made from repurposed wire and wood. It hovers beside a sleek, clean bottle filled with seed. Light glints off the glass like water, and behind it, terracotta pots stand quietly in the shade of a wooden wall. The second scene feels like a tiny festival of kindness, a fence adorned with bottle feeders like lanterns, each one carefully filled with a different blend of seeds. Some are crowded with sunflower hearts, others with millet or cracked corn. The bottles hang in quiet rows, repurposed with dignity. Below them, orange marigolds rise like little suns, echoing the warmth of the birds above. What once held soda or wine now holds nourishment. And in return, the birds come, sparrows, finches, tits, bringing song, movement, and life to what might have otherwise been just a static wall. It's a perfect balance, the stillness of the fence and the unpredictability of flight. To create your own is not difficult. Rinse the bottles. Drill 2 small holes near the base. Add a twig or a wooden dowel. Fill with seeds. Hang from a tree limb, a nail, a fence. And then wait. Watch how your garden changes, not just in color or in shape, but in soul. Because in this simple act of reuse, we become part of something greater. We feed not just the birds, but the story of a garden alive, a space shared, and the quiet joy of doing something gentle. This is not just DIY. This is coexistence. Four, Hummingbird feeding station made from trash bottles. In the stillness of early morning, before the garden fully wakes, they arrive. Tiny flashes of movement, a soft blur of emerald and scarlet, the gentle whir of wings that beat faster than the eye can follow. Hummingbirds. Here, in this small sanctuary shaped by care and creativity, the feeders await, each one crafted not from glass or store-bought plastic, but from discarded bottles given new purpose. Red, yellow, translucent, cut and reshaped into blossoms of sustenance. They hang like petals captured in midair, swaying gently beneath grapevines and beside walls of zinnias and bee balm. In one quiet corner, a red-tinted plastic bottle is transformed. Shaped like a flower, it drips sweet nectar beneath a trellis woven with vines and hope. A ruby-throated visitor pauses in midair, wings a whisper, sipping delicately from a handcrafted bloom. No filters, no fuss. Just nature in communion with something once considered trash. Elsewhere, a wooden post holds a circle of clear feeders, each with its own color, its own drop of nectar. Hummingbirds dart between them, navigating through the hanging fuchsias and swaying salvia. The bottles, once empty, once meaningless, now pulse with life and purpose. These feeders don't just serve the birds. They serve the story. A story of hands choosing reuse over refuse. Of gardens that give, not just grow. Of beauty not bought, but built. To make your own hummingbird station, begin with what you already have. A soda bottle, a juice jug, a plastic cap. Cut carefully. Shape with kindness. Add a few small holes, a little perch if you like, and fill with a mixture of water and sugar, nothing more. Hang them near flowers hummingbirds love, where the air is quiet and safe. You don't need acres. You don't need perfection. Just a spot of sunlight and a little imagination. And in return, you'll be given something priceless. The presence of a creature that lives between stillness and motion, that drinks from color, that reminds us we are not too small to make something meaningful. This isn't just feeding wildlife. It's feeding the soul of the garden. Five, frog-friendly bottle pond for small patio gardens. Tucked into the corner of a quiet patio, there's a place where water holds stories. Not large, not deep, just a few glistening pools formed from cut bottles and gathered stones. Yet it pulses with life in the gentlest way. Here, the chorus of the garden isn't made by machines or wind chimes, but by the soft croak of a frog echoing from a bottle nestled among moss and hosta leaves. This is not a grand pond. It is something far more personal. A collection of old plastic and glass bottles, once containers of soda, juice, or wine, now form a circular oasis. They cradle water and light. They offer hiding places, shaded alcoves, and tiny landings for those who crawl, leap, and rest. Between the stones, frogs appear, not placed, not invited, but welcomed by design. In one garden, a circle of glass catches filtered sunlight beneath thyme and mint. A water lily stretches its petals across the surface, and a tree frog dozes on a leaf as though the world has stopped, just for this moment. In another, reused bottles are arranged like veins of water within a wooden planter. Hidden between vines and ferns, the green skin of a tiny guest peeks out from the shadows, blending in, yet unmistakably alive. The beauty of these frog ponds is not only in their form, but in their purpose. They are cool spots in hot weather. They are moisture in a dry corner. They are sanctuary, sculpted by hand. You don't need expensive liners. You don't need pumps or fountains. You need imagination. A bottle, a brick, a handful of pebbles, a little water, a place near shade. Layer it with textures, moss, bark, creeping greens. Let rain collect. Let silence fall. Then, wait. Soon, a frog might come. Then another. And your garden will no longer just grow. It will breathe. It will listen. It will speak in the language of stillness and ripples. This isn't just upcycling. This is rebuilding a bond. Between nature and nurture, between wild and welcome. In a world that often moves too fast, the frog teaches us how to stay still. And in your tiny patio corner, life begins again, one bottle at a time. Six, DIY Insectarium from upcycled bottles for patio corners. In the quiet corners of a garden, far from the blooms that boast their colors and the trees that stretch to meet the sky, a different kind of magic takes place. It is small, often unseen, but essential. Tucked beneath the shade of potted basil and lavender, nestled beside bricks warmed by morning light, a tower stands. Not tall, not elaborate, just a stack of transparent bottles, each filled with leaves, bark, bits of soil, each alive in its own silent way. This is the Insectarium, a sanctuary for the overlooked. Inside these upcycled chambers, ladybugs wander between dried petals. Beetles nestle deep into hollow twigs. Pill bugs roll beneath moss like living marbles. A spider weaves a web no wider than a fingertip, catching nothing but light and dew. To some, it might look like trash stacked in a corner. But to those who pause, to truly look, it's a living city. Made from what was once discarded, these bottles now serve a higher purpose, to host the hidden architects of the ecosystem. They pollinate, decompose, aerate, balance. They remind us that even the smallest lives matter. In one scene, a clear bottle hangs from a wooden post, glowing in soft sunlight. It's simple, just twine, a bottle, and the earth's textures layered inside. Yet it's captivating. A beetle crawls across a piece of bark. Behind it, chamomile sways. Elsewhere, 5 soda bottles are stacked like a child's experiment in nature. Each layer holds a secret, a rhythm of its own. It's a microcosm, a terrarium for the wild. This project isn't just about observing insects. It's about restoring relationship between curiosity and care, between the human hand and the natural world. And you don't need much to begin. A few clear bottles, some patience, and a corner of your patio where life is allowed to whisper instead of roar. What you build may be small in size, but vast in meaning. Because when we create space for the tiniest creatures, we open a door for balance, for beauty, and for the kind of biodiversity that starts not with laws or policies, but with one reused bottle and the choice to pay attention. This isn't just a DIY. This is a celebration of the invisible. Seven, Ant Observation Bottle Station along Garden Edge. Sometimes, the most extraordinary worlds lie just beneath our feet. Along the edge of a humble herb bed, where thyme spills over the soil and oregano perfumes the breeze, there sits a quiet bottle, half buried, half forgotten. Yet inside, there is movement, purpose, life, tiny lives. An ant colony, industrious and precise, has found home in a transparent corridor of sand and twig. What was once a plastic bottle is now a window into a microcosm of endless fascination. Tunnels twist and intersect. Ants dart back and forth, carrying specks of food, leaf fragments, grains of soil. There's order in the chaos. There's rhythm in the stillness. It's a lesson we often overlook. But in this garden, someone paid attention. A DIY and observation station, recycled, simple, brilliant, is tucked against the brick path. At first glance, it's nothing more than a clear vessel set into the soil. But as the sun warms the earth, the secrets inside are revealed. Children crouch to watch. A finger gently points to an ant dragging a prize twice its size. Nearby, marigold sway and mint unfurls its leaves, unaware of the stage being set at their roots. This isn't just about insects. This is about reconnecting with curiosity, with patience, with awe. It's easy to create. A bottle, a cut, a little soil, some bark, a few leaves, placed along the edge where the earth breathes and life is always stirring. And the magic is not in the making, it's in the watching. This station is not just for science. It's for stillness. It reminds us that not all nature lives in sweeping landscapes or towering trees. Some of it tunnels through shadows beneath time. Some of it marches in perfect, tireless lines just outside your kitchen door. In a world that moves too fast, these ants ask us to slow down, to observe, to marvel. Because when you line your garden with intention, even using what others throw away, you create more than a border. You create a bridge between the seen and unseen, between the human and the wild. This is not just reuse. This is reverence. Eight, ground beetle shelter from buried bottles in small yards. There are places in the garden that stay cool all day, where sunlight only brushes the earth for a moment, and the ground holds moisture like memory. Here, in the stillest corners, under ferns, behind stones, beneath mulch, live the hidden caretakers of the soil. Ground beetles, not colorful like butterflies, not melodic like birds, but essential. In this tiny backyard, what once was waste is now refuge. Plastic bottles, cut and buried just enough to disappear, form humble, hidden shelters. Inside, dry leaves curl like resting hammocks. Bark pieces nestle into the earth like folded blankets. And within the darkness, beetles stir. You might not notice them at first, but if you crouch low, where the light is soft and the shadows stretch gently over moss and mulch, you'll see them. Crawling, emerging, returning. They come not for the view, but for the function. In one frame, a glass bottle lies half covered by time and soil. It looks incidental, maybe even forgotten. But inside, the air is cool. The floor, damp. The beetles are sheltered, safe. In another, rows of cut bottles line the garden's edge, an organized effort that looks more like art than ecosystem. Yet from each rounded mouth, life moves. These are the decomposers, the defenders, the silent recyclers. They feed on what falls, and in doing so, they feed the garden. This kind of DIY isn't just about being clever. It's about being aware. About knowing that your yard is not just yours. It is shared. To make a beetle shelter, you don't need much. A bottle, a shovel, a quiet space. Line the bottom with natural debris. Keep the entry shaded. Let the rest happen on its own. Because nature never needs perfection, only permission. Let your garden whisper safety to the smallest guests. Let it offer a space to retreat, to live, to work unseen. And one morning, as you sip coffee barefoot in the yard, you'll realize that even beneath the leaves, life is busy. Beautifully, quietly busy. This isn't about decoration. This is about devotion. To what's underneath. To what's overlooked. To the kind of beauty that crawls and cleans and carries the soil forward. One bottle at a time. 9. DIY reptile hiding spot using painted plastic bottles. Not all creatures fly or flutter. Some stay close to the earth, moving silently through the mulch, disappearing beneath stones, basking where the light feels safe. In the heart of a small garden, where the air smells of rosemary and marigold, where petals fall like slow confetti, a hidden refuge waits. It begins with something simple. A soda bottle, painted, cut, laid low into the soil, camouflaged beneath a flowering bush, softened by moss and bark, it takes on a new life. Its plastic walls, now cloaked in earthy tones and leaf patterns, blend into the garden's rhythm. A lizard peeks out from the tunnel's mouth, still, unbothered, curious. The early light casts soft shadows along its scaled back and across the gentle slope of fallen petals. Further down the path, another bottle glows green beneath rosemary stems. It's half-buried, adorned with hand-painted vines. Warm stones catch the sun, and a skink rests nearby, still as sculpture, waiting for the world to warm just a little more. These hiding spots aren't accidental. They are crafted with care. Each reused bottle becomes a sanctuary for those who don't ask to be seen. The reptiles, the quiet guardians, the natural pest controllers. They ask only for warmth, shade, and a place to retreat when the world feels too open. To make one is a quiet kind of creation. Find a bottle, shape it into a tunnel, paint it if you'd like, or let the earth do the blending. Bury it slightly, surround it with mulch, stones, perhaps a log or a patch of ivy. Let it disappear into the garden's skin. Then wait. You might not see its visitor at first, but you'll begin to notice. The insects seem fewer. The soil feels more alive. And now and then, under the hush of ferns, a flicker of tail and sun-warmed scales. These are the moments where design and wildness meet, where trash becomes shelter, where small actions ripple through ecosystems. And in the softest corners of your backyard, life takes root, in silence, in stillness, in shade. This isn't just a DIY hiding spot. This is a gesture of protection, of coexistence, of remembering that even the smallest garden has room for the unnoticed. Cheap and charming bottle edging that attracts wildlife. Sometimes, it's the simplest lines in a garden that carry the most meaning. Not the towering trees, not the grand centerpiece, but the edge, the quiet rim that holds everything in and gently says, "Here is where we begin." And when that edge is made not of stone or steel, but of old bottles, glass or plastic, painted or clear, upright or embedded, it becomes more than a boundary. It becomes an invitation. A row of colorful glass bottles rises from the soil like a joyful fence, catching the afternoon light and tossing it back in soft flashes. Between stalks of lavender and open daisies, butterflies skip lazily, while bees hum with focus. A hummingbird feeder sways nearby, its colors echoing those caught in the glass. Everything dances. Elsewhere, a garden path meanders through a border built from plastic bottles, each one coated in earthy tones, wrapped with pressed flowers and twine, nestled low and steady into the ground. Beneath their shadows, ants trace their roads, beetles dart between roots, and a lizard lounges unseen, except to the patient eye. Every bottle tells a story of what it once held and of what it now gives. And then, near a patch of mint and sunflower, a bottle edge curves gently outward, forming a dotted rhythm along the soil. Each bottom gleams like a tiny jewel. A robin stands atop one, still and alert. This isn't just decoration. This is habitat. This is structure and shelter woven into color. The beauty of bottle edging is not only in its charm, but in its accessibility. It asks for nothing new, just what you already have, what others might throw away. What, in your hands, becomes border and beacon alike. You don't need perfection, just intention. Place each bottle upright or sideways. Mix materials. Mix memories. Let color happen. Let imperfection shine. And in time, life will find it. Wings will flutter. Feet will scurry. Roots will explore. This is where sustainability meets joy. Where waste becomes welcome. Where edges don't separate, but connect. Because even the humblest of borders can frame a world worth protecting. And in a tiny garden, it turns out everything is alive. If this video meant something to you, please know that subscribing means the world to me. You're not just supporting content, you're supporting a dream that keeps my family going. Thank you, truly. I'd also love to hear from you. What did you enjoy the most? Is there anything I could do better to keep inspiring or simply entertaining you? Your feedback helps this channel grow with heart and purpose. Let me know in the comments. I read every one.